First of all, I just want to say this shirt doesn't mean absolutely anything. I know you collect shirts, I collect them as well. You definitely have a shirt who isn't from your team, so don't make a big deal about it, okay? Let's get right into it. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están, buddies? Here, welcome back to another video here on this channel. Once again, I want to bring you guys the better football content without any of that bullcrap bias that we see on stuff like ESPN FC. Today we're going to talk about the match between Chelsea and Manchester United, with Chelsea managed to win 1-0 against the Red Devils. It was a quite interesting game, I gotta say. Overall, I wasn't expecting this, but no, what I'm saying is obviously what I expected. It's Chelsea versus Mourinho, two defensive teams facing it off. We were always going to see a low margin result, and that's exactly what we got. So the first thing I want to talk about is obviously this guy behind here. It's Eden Hazard. For me, this guy is always hot and cold. Like, he can be amazing one game and then the other one just be absolute shit. But I always criticize him. I always criticize him a lot. I never really thought of him like a very world-class player, but today, just sitting and watching like the Chelsea game once again, I just realized how hard-working Hazard really is and how much value we need to give to a player like him. Because not only is he just amazing, like with the ball on his feet and everything, but he plays in a system that doesn't favor him at all. He doesn't play in a team where they want to keep possession, and you're giving a guy who is like the best dribbler, one of the best passers in the Premier League. You're not giving him the chance to do that. You're just giving him the ball in very few chances, and he has to make with it the best he can. You see him many times again saying people like he's selfish, he's this and that, but the thing is that he's selfish because he doesn't have any other option. Because people like Marcos Alonso, you have people like Fabregas, Conte, Bakayoko, you don't have midfielders that necessarily want to get up there and help him. There's nobody out there who just like is gonna rebound from him. He doesn't have any other options. He doesn't have any other passing options. That's the main thing. That's the main reason why you don't see too many crosses from him. You don't see him using the best of his abilities to the max. This is why many people say like he's selfish once again, and we just have to praise for what he does. Because imagine being, I don't know, what's the best example I can give you? Like, let's say you don't speak English and you work in a school in Paraguay or something like that, in Uruguay, Paraguay, whatever, in South America, and you are learning, or you are teaching in a school in Spanish. So can you see how hard would that be for an English person to try and teach English there, because he doesn't understand anything that's going around him, but he just focuses on the one thing that he knows? It's really tough, because you need to learn about how to live with and cope with all the other people. And that's exactly what Hazard does here, the same thing at Chelsea. He would be benefited of going to a Real Madrid, going to Barcelona, and I think the best team actually for him would be somewhere like Bayern. But he's not going anywhere. He likes Chelsea and he's doing the best he can for this club, and I think it's great. It's great, and we just have to praise that, because like I said many times again, I never really praised that about Hazard. But now I just see how important he can really be for a club like Chelsea. And I gotta talk the same about two other players. I just was superb. I understand how good Conte and Matic can be to their respective teams. You see Matic and Conte, they may not be the two same CDM midfielders, but they may not have the same style. But it's really important their role in a team such as Mourinho's side or a Conte side, where you really want to defend and then counterattack and open up through the middle, and don't let your opponents cut in through the midfield. They're really important for this. They're hugely important, and we can just see today how those two can really shape up such an amazing game, and how can they have a really big impact in trying to keep the score sheet as reduced as possible. We can see Conte and Matic having defenders back then. Matic is having Phil Jones and Chris Smalling in the back, and then you have Conte having people such as Cahill, Rudiger, Azpilicueta is good, but Rudiger and Cahill, so. And they managed to contain all of that. Like, having the defenders knowing that they have such good CDMs in front of them, they just feel secure, and they just feel that they can do what they most like. Because at the end of the day, when the attacker comes to the defender, they're really like dripping their last drop of sweat. So they're like already dying because they have to fight for Matic and Conte to get there. So that's amazing. I wanted to praise that before starting off because I just gotta say these players, Matic, Conte, and Hazard, are all just world class. They're super world class players, and we need to give them credit where it's due. But moving on onto the match, which is something I know you want to hear me talk about, I just gotta say that right away, 0-0 until the first goal, it was very boring. It's really boring always. The last time I saw Chelsea versus Manchester United, I think United won 2-1, if I'm not wrong. And that was also a boring game because like you have two teams which just defend and they don't want to have possession. They don't want to retain the ball. They feel uncomfortable with the ball. And it's just who was going to have the ball less. It was like, no, you have it, no, you have it, no, you have it, no, you have it. And that just made out for a game that never really had any depth to it. And we never really see like clear chances getting to the box and starting out. And that just was the first thing for the very first few minutes. I gotta say that once the penalty came, it was a clear penalty, and we can just see how Chelsea got advantage of that. United said like, okay, they're not gonna keep the ball. We might as well just push forward. They went just that extra little mile, and you can see how one touch from Hazard can ruin you, and they ruined. It really ruined that auto pass. Hazard to the left, then cut inside through Phil Jones, and then Phil Jones absolutely had no chance but to tackle him inside the box. It's obviously not a red card because he actually did win for the challenge inside the box. Even if you're the last man standing, if you go and challenge for the box and not necessarily go to take him out, then it's not a red card. But without that out of the way, you can just see how one moment of not being focused can really hurt you, and this really hurt Manchester United. And we can talk about the same thing time and time again, because I never really understood why Mourinho never took Romelu Lukaku or never started Romelu Lukaku. You need somebody like him, a big strong guy. The same thing had Chelsea. Chelsea had Giroud, which is like, for me, worse than Lukaku. And I don't understand why Manchester United tried to do that, because perhaps, I don't know, Mourinho thought that perhaps Conte were going to tell his team just to push a little bit forward to open up space or something like that. That's why he went with Sanchez, Rashford, and Lingard. I don't know, but I think they should have put Lukaku inside, because such a big player, a big presence like Lukaku can really shift the tide of the game. He can make defenders worry about him a lot more. And then you have people like Rashford and Alexis Sanchez who just gonna open up wide so much better. And we're talking about a team like Chelsea, which is very wide. So once they are already wide and you expand them even more, you're gonna find spaces for the middle for people like Paul Pogba and Ander Herrera. And I really never understood why he didn't take Lukaku. It was just like, your whole team works around that. I know he was injured or he was recovering from something. Perhaps he wasn't playing too much. But I never really understand about these managers, because even though he may not play like, let's say, a full 30 minutes, he can play 30 minutes and then you substitute it out. But if you get the goal from the start, it's much better than wanting to get a goal after all, because after all, you're going to have so much more defenders trying to park the balls. I never really understand that. People like sometimes like to rest players, and then when they're losing, they bring in inside. For instance, I don't know, Barcelona are losing and they have Messi on the bench, they bring Messi in. But why not just start Messi, get one goal, get 2 goals, and then just take him out? I never really understand that. You can do the same here. Play Lukaku 30 minutes from the start, get a goal, get 2 goals, or perhaps just tired out Chelsea and then take him out. I never really understand that, and I thought he should have started Lukaku right from the get-go. So now to finish off, I just want to analyze a little bit how important is this FA Cup for Chelsea, or how important could this FA Cup be to Manchester United. These are two sides who necessarily, they have to be challenging for much more. They should be challenging for the Champions League even, they should be challenging for the league, but they just didn't do that this season. And it's really unfortunate that at the end of the day, they have to battle it out on an all-in war for the FA Cup, which, to be honest, people like the FA Cup, but we have to be honest. And if we take this to the hands of the media, the FA Cup doesn't have the same weight as it did before. But it's good. Winning a trophy, like I said, it's better than winning none. So necessarily, I gotta say that if we take into account this, obviously Manchester United, or even, I don't know. Because Chelsea, for instance, they win the FA Cup, but they don't go to the Champions League. But Manchester United end up second and go to the Champions League, but don't win the FA Cup. So it's really hard. So I'm gonna leave you that for the comments down below. You know what? Because I really do not know who had the better season. Was it Chelsea or was it Manchester United? In my opinion, I gotta say that United had the better season because the Champions League is much better than nothing. Because we live in a world where the Champions League is the most important thing. So if we take that into account, then Chelsea are not going to the Champions League. And even though they win the FA Cup, United still are going to the Champions League and they're not. So I really do not know. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Who had the better season, Chelsea or Manchester United? I'm not gonna answer because it's really, really weird to answer, knowing that some people are gonna criticize me because I'm wearing a Chelsea shirt or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it up to you in the comments down below. Hopefully you have enjoyed this post-match analysis to the FA Cup final, and see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.